Okay. Good morning. Yes, as I said in the previous class, I'm going to start with the next module. It is module 5, that is real-time operating system. Since you know about the background about the operating system, we are going to start with what is the real-time operating system is. What is the meaning of the word real-time? See, there are two types of operating system. One can be the general purpose, what we regularly use in our desktop or in the laptops. They are Windows 10, Windows 8. They are called as the general purpose operating system, where you can do. Okay. Where did I stop? What was the last topic I was discussing? Can anyone text what was the last topic or the word you have heard? Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Hmm. See, I was talking about the real-time operating system. See, this in the market there are so many different types of real-time operating systems are there. In that, these are the list I have shown. Linux OS or OSE, QNX, RT Linux, VxWorks, Windows CE. In that, this VxWorks is a real-time operating system. It was the part of uh, March 2020 rover. In that system, the operating system used was this VxWorks. And see, there is one more QNX uh, operating system is there. See, they say it is compatible with the ARM and x86. Then what we should understand is the real-time operating system is dependent on this system, the computer architecture also, processor architecture. If this is the case, see RT Linux, this is also hard real-time operating system where they use it for the controlling the robots or data capturing system or manufacturing plants. There they use this type of real-time operating system, RT Linux, ECOS. See, there are in this way you have so many real-time operating systems are there. Yes, Vishwas, do you have any problem? Vishwas has raised the hand. Vishwas TS 19 CS 126. Vishwas, do you have any doubt? No? Please feel to reply. Just now you have raised the hand. Vishwas, nothing? Okay. Yes, this is the different types of real-time operating systems are there. Okay, from this example, we understood that QNX, they are compatible with a different architecture. It depends upon the processor architecture. Okay. Now that is why this is the reason we are going to discuss how to choose any real-time operating system for an embedded design. How we should select, whether we should select VxWorks or I should select QNX or ECOS or RT Linux or any other thing. How I should select the real-time operating system for the embedded system which I am going to design. What all the things I have to see. In that, there we are going to divide those factors into two things. One is the functional and a non-functional. What all the factors which comes under functional are, first one is the processor support. If you think that all the operating system will work on all the processor architecture, it is wrong. Say this is the one example. This QNX, it will not work on the MIPS architecture. This QNX will work only on x86 and ARM. In that way, the real-time operating system, it will not work on all the processor architecture that we should see. Okay, this is the processor which I'm going to select, ARM. Then I will select, okay, this this one, this QNX. If I choosing another architecture, whether it is compatible with the VxWorks, I should see, then I should use that real-time operating system. That is the first case, the functional requirement. Processor support, whether it is there or not, that we should check before we select RTOS. Then memory requirements. See the type of memories that you can see is one is ROM, another one is RAM, another flash memory. Okay, what is the ROM or the RAM requirements are required for any operating system? That we should check just by keeping 128 KB, 56 KB, whether this much of it is enough for my real operating system. If you have done that much of assumption, then it will not work. You should you should keep a minimal ROM and the RAM requirements for the real-time operating system that you are going to choose. Or if that is fixed, if you are going to assume that I am going to use only the 4 GB RAM and I'm going to use only 512 MB ROM, then suitable real-time operating system you have to choose. You have to consider memory requirement also before you select an real-time operating system. Since it is a real-time, you have to check real-time capabilities. Real-time capabilities means nothing but how when you are going to get it as a real-time means the task or the process scheduling policies, what they have used in the design of the real-time operating system. Those things we have to see whether that is applicable for our embedded system. Those policies, tasks or the process scheduling policies, they play a very important role in real-time behavior of an operating system. If that capabilities have been met, then you can choose for your embedded system. Real-time capabilities you should see. Then, you know kernel, right? In the operating system, any kernel will be there. Without that kernel, you cannot assume any operating system. That kernel, if you don't have a proper kernel, there is a chances of the kernel will disable the interrupts which are raised by the other devices. If that is the case, then what problems? While executing some services, some devices has raised the interrupt. It is waiting for the response service, but the kernel has disabled that interrupt. Then it will lead to the interrupt latency. Then it will affect on the system performance. That is why you should take care about you should see the kernel. The latency should be very minimal. Those things should you have to take care. Next, another functional requirement is interprocess communication and task synchronization. What is this interprocess means? A process to process communication. One process it will deallocate the resources that will be used by the another process or messages exchanges between the two process. Yeah, the one processor releases the task. That synchronization, that support, that implementation, that will be that OS kernel dependent. Whether these options, if they have been provided by the operating system, that should be seen. We have to see those policies. Next, the operating systems, they are going to design in such a way that a different functionalities will be designed as a different modules. The graphical thing, that is a separate module. Okay. If the operating system is designed as a modular structure, that is called as modular operating system. The Windows CE, which I have shown, the Windows CE, this one, this Windows CE, This is an example for highly modularized operating system. If that is the case, if that operating system, if you use that, then developer can choose only the essential modules, means which are the modules which are required. Only he can choose that, and he can recompile the OS image for functioning. Okay, if that support is there, that you have to check in the real-time operating system, then you should select modular operating system. Means the program should be designed in that way. Operating system ನೇ ಆ ತರ ಡಿಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಮಾಡ್ಯುಲರ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಅವಾಗ ನಾವ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಎಂಬೆಡೆಡ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಮಾಡ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕು ನನಗೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾತ್ರ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾತ್ರನೇ ಕಂಪೈಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಅದನ್ನೇ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಯುಲರೈಸೇಷನ್. Whether that support is there, that we have to check modularization. In the Windows CE, it is that support is there. And the operating system, assume that you are going to choose this RT Linux, whether it has a support for networking, whether all the drivers, the stack implementation, everything is there, that we should check. That is called support for networking and communication. If that operating system provides these drivers for communication, interfaces, and networking, then you can choose. If that is the requirement, if your embedded device, it should communicate with other devices through the network, then you have to check whether that operating system supports it or not. If it doesn't support, you will not use, you will go for the other operating system. Then one more is development language support. See, assume that you have chosen this Linux operating system. In this operating system, whenever you purchase itself for the embedded system, if all the runtimes are available, means some Java programs you are going to run on this Linux OS, Java program run ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಿದ್ದೀರಾ, or some .NET program you have to run on this Linux OS. If that runtime libraries are already available, or the support is there to install, then you can choose this for your embedded system. If it doesn't support, or if it is not available, and also you cannot, I think by default it is not there, but you are ready to install it. But if there is no support, then you should not, then you are not going to select that. Which one? Development language support. These are the functional requirements you are going to see. Mainly you are going to see this much before you select any operating system. From the other perspective, non-functional requirements, what all the things we are going to check is the custom develop. See, the operating system is there, but in that, for your embedded system, what all the things are required, only will enable those, and we are going to disable all the other functionalities. From your operating system, you want just to play an audio, only that much of functionality is required. Then you are going to select any open source operating system, and you are going to disable all the other things. Whatever it is required only for playing the audio, that much will be enabled. That we are going to see. That much of flexibility is there in that operating system. That is the one thing we are going to see. The next thing is the cost. Always we see this cost. If we are going to purchase that OS, but when we make our embedded system as a commercial product, then that cost will also add, right? That is also a factor that we see before we select any operating system. And I said this Linux OS, if we assume that it has a support for Linux, whether any debugging tools are there in that Linux OS, because sometimes during the production there is no issues. After it is used by the customer. If there is some problem in the firmware, then we should debug for what is that error. If the two debugging tools are not available in that operating system, okay, yes, these are the non-functional requirements. These are the things we have to see. The custom developed or the cost or ease of use and after sales. These are the factors we have to see before we select any embedded system. Okay, then we'll go for the next topic, that is integration and testing of the embedded hardware and the firmware. Now we have to embed both the hardware and software, that is firmware. We have to integrate is nothing but placing it on the board. After that, whether it is working or not, that we have to test. That is the thing we are going to discuss. Okay, okay, do you have any doubts in how to choose the real-time operating system? Any doubts in how to choose the real-time operating system in that topic? Do you have any doubts in this? Okay. Okay, these are the factors you should see. Then we'll go for the next. Now the hardware is ready, software is ready. Now there is a board. On that board, you have to place it. After that, that is called integration. Then you have to test it. Test with the functional requirements, whether it is working as expected. Whether it is working as expected. That is called the meaning of the word testing. Integration is on the target hardware board. This integration testing, see, you have learned this software engineering, you have heard unit testing, system testing, integration testing, all this. Unit testing is you are going to test the part by part. All the components, the different functionalities, they are not integrated. Part by part, you are going to test whether it is working separately, individually. Once you add all those things, then we will call it as system testing or integration testing. System testing, always we say that it is as a whole, but integration testing means one with another, two components you are going to add and you are going to test whether it is working properly. Then add one more, test it. In that way, we say this integration testing, it's an immediate step that we are going to take once the hardware and the firmware which is developed, which is required for our embedded system. Or this process we call it as an embedded intelligence to the product. Now there is a target board. Okay, there is a target board. On that you have to place the hardware. Now before we load any embedded hardware, means it is just the peripherals that you are going to connect. The firmware means you have to load it. Where you should load? Any operating system. Where actually we are going to load? ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ? In any operating system, in our desktop, where actually we store the operating system? Where actually it is going to save, and after that where actually it is going to load. What is main required for this operating system in this case? To load store, what is required? Nothing is required. The main thing which is necessary is this memory, this RAM and ROM. That memory capabilities that we have to check before we integrate, before we load the embedded firmware. First we have to check the memory requirements, whether in the processor or the controller, what will be there on the board, whether it has an internal code memory or what is the size of that memory, that we have to check, because the real-time operating system you are going to load into that memory. If that is there, no problem, or else external chip you have to place it on the target board. External code memory chip that you have to add, because it should hold the firmware. Then there should be a interface. That chip should be interface to the processor. Interface is nothing but the chip, what external memory chip that you are going to select, that the data should be moved to the processor. From the processor, it has to come back. That is why that chip should be connected to the processor. That is called the chip is interface to the processor. Then, okay, now the chip is ready, processor or the controller is ready. Now we have to load the real-time operating system RTOS, that is called a firmware, into that chip. How to load in our desktop system? How we are going to load the operating system? We'll have a CD. We'll or any other through the USB. That operating system will be there. That gets loaded into the storage device. In that way itself, in case of the embedded system, there are two ways you can load uh, the the firmware into the hardware, that is memory chip. That is called as two ways, that is called as out of circuit programming, and one more is in programming. Out of circuit programming and one more is in system programming. These are the two ways. What is the name? Out of circuit programming is the software and the hardware, the chip and the hardware. The chip will be removed from the target board. The firmware, it will be loaded into the memory chip, and then that chip or the processor or the memory chip, it will be placed once again on the target board. That is what out of circuit programming. ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸರ್ ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಮೈಕ್ರೋ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲರ್ನ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನ ಅದರಿಂದ ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ನ ಲೋಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅದರೊಳಗೆ. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಆ ಚಿಪ್ ನ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. We are going to place it on once again on the target board. That is called out of circuit programming. One more, in programming, means that board, processor or the memory chip, that will be there on the target board itself. Then we are going to load it, the operating system. Whether in our desktop system, whether we follow out of circuit programming or in system programming. The question is, in your desktop or in the laptops, which one you are going to follow? Whether out of circuit programming or in system programming. Pinchana, Parvati, which one we are going to follow in our normal system daily, what we see, whether it is in system or out of circuit programming. Okay, think for one day. We'll discuss both the out of circuit and in system programming in detail in the next class. Okay. Okay, we say in system. Okay. Hmm. Okay, we'll discuss this in the next class. Hmm. Now you can send your attendance, and then if you have any doubts, you can ask, or else you can exit.
Sure.